So I think they're pretty close, but I think the 562 can take it. This is a completely stock unit, no muffler mod, nothing. But I do believe as of right now, it is the absolute pinnacle of 60cc saw in stock trim. So yeah, we'll see. Probably pretty close, but I think this has got a little bit more oomph. But we'll see. I don't know. I've been wrong before. Okay, so I know that I cut out with the Makita down there towards the bottom whenever I was doing the vice grip. But I'm not going to do the test again. I don't care that much. And plus, sometimes on camera it has cut out, but it's still cutting material. It's just cutting the kerf, right? And that's what happened here. Would it have made a difference? Maybe, maybe not. I personally think that it would have made zero difference because the saw was still cutting. It was still cutting the kerf, and whatever. All these tests are just, hey, I wonder what if. Anyways, you know. So, but I can say that from me, my own personal perspective, I am very happy with the results of this. This Makita is a plastic pseudo clamshell saw. Now I would call it is not exactly a farm and ranch saw. I would say that it is a semi-pro saw. It's still meant for serious duty. Could it stand up to professional use? Of course it could. You know, I've seen people use 455 ranchers in pro situations. You know what I mean? Like, you know, residential guys. See what I'm saying? So, and that's not a snub to residential guys. Oh God, we're grown men. We shouldn't have to walk on eggshells. But yeah, I had said originally that this saw was meant to be a farm and ranch style saw, and while it's probably in direct competition with a 455 rancher or a 391 farm boss, maybe a 311 farm boss. Steel's numbers are weird. But anyways, it's meant to be in direct competition with those saws. Plastic case, but still a good saw. But the difference with this saw is it's not a full tilt clamshell. It has a metal bottom end, a block, if you will, and your cylinder goes on top of that and bolts down, and well, I was able to machine the cylinder. Whereas if it had bearing pockets at the bottom of the cylinder, like half moon bearing pockets, like typical clamshell saws, if it had that, I wouldn't have, I'm not capable of machining those. I'm not set up with that kind of machinery. But so for what it is, to put it right there at the level of the 562 XP, I am very happy. I'm very proud of this build. And I felt them one side by side, you know, and they're really close in weight. the 5600 Makita versus the Husqvarna 562 XP. Very similar in weight, very similar in size. The Makita seems a little bit bulkier, but the Husqvarna seems a little bit heavier. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The 562 feels heavy to me. It feels like a portly pig. And I think it's really condensed, you know, but it's still, there's a lot of heft to it. There's a lot of weight to it. I mean, it ain't like a 70cc saw, but it sure as hell isn't like a 50cc saw. And that's one thing that I will say about the Stihl MS 400, the MS 362, the MS 361. All three of those saws feel smaller than what they are. And it's very nice. They feel lightweight and small and just nice, you know. They feel like they would be a 55cc class saw, but there's 61, something like that, and 67 cc's. So hats off to Stihl on that. You know, they definitely feel good to use. They feel small and light. Whereas the Husky 60cc saws, all of them, the 357, the 359, the 562 here, to me, they feel heavy. I think they are heavy, but compared to the size that they are, especially the 357 and 359, they're very small. They're really small saws, but they still got the heft to them. They still they feel heavy to me. Anyways, I've beaten that horse, haven't I? So, but these two saws right here, now with the port job on that Makita, RPMs and in the wood, smooth glide down the shaft, they're basically identical. You would not be able to see that with the naked eye if it was happening right there in front of you. But because like whenever I thought they tied, even doing it on the computer here, and I had to really it was like 2 or 3 frames difference. It's like nothing. I think it was like 0.6 of a second. One was 0.57, the other one was 0.63. So 0.6 of a second. That's crazy. Not even a tenth of a second. Very, very, very close. But on the vice grip, I think very clearly the Makita displayed more torque. Both of these saws are running 24-inch bars, but they can't run the same bar because the Makita takes a, what's it called, Husky small mount bar, and the 562 takes a Husky large mount bar. But it is the same chain, the same exact chain that's being ran on both saws. So anyways, just a little bit of, hey, I wonder what, and here you have it. The ported Makita performs very nicely. And like I said, I got 3 of these saws, the Makitas. I feel like I got, one of them was running, the one here that I have ported, it was running. The other one was all there, it was in good shape, but it wasn't getting any spark, so I had to put a coil on it. But the third one was a long block, you know, just the engine with all of the cylinder, the crank, the flywheel, and the coil. So I was able to take the coil off of this guy, and now I got 2 good running saws. They were Home Depot rental saws, and I got all 3 of them. I got for $120. The 562 XP, I think they're going for about $800 or $900 now. About $800, I think, about that. So 120 for two running saws, right? Or 800 for one. So I'm really liking this Makita. It's a nice saw, and at any time now I should get my 6100, the Makita or slash Dolmar 6100 cylinder. So we'll be able to see if that is actually going to work on this saw. I think that it will. My money's on yes, it will work, but don't know. We will see. And for now, that's it. See you guys.